Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
Wait, oh, this is very sweet. Okay, it's a close-up photograph of a young boy who's missing the top two teeth, smiling broadly at not at the photographer, but at somebody off camera. So he's wearing a t-shirt that says, well, or maybe a rash vest that says swim, swim, swim. Kind of bright reddish swimming trunks, I guess.
Yeah.
He has a beautiful expression. He has these like straight, slightly waved, not blonde, but bright, like light brown hair. Behind him is a mountain or a hill. So that's not the Netherlands, I don't think. It's a blue sky. There's maybe one cloud in the picture, but it's basically maybe shot in the morning or in the noon. The sun looks like it's pretty much high noon, either like 11 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon. Behind this little boy are like 3 or 4 photos in the water. Is it a lake? It could be a lake, maybe not the sea. I don't know. And just far in the background, you can see a little bit of a hillside and a town, a very low town. And beyond that, I can't really guess. Why don't you take it from here? Who's this sweet little boy?
This is my boy, Mika.
Ah.
It's indeed Lago Maggiore, Italy. So you're right. It's a lake, and he just swam there. And his T-shirt says "swim, swim, swim." But he is afraid a bit of the water. So we'll get. That's a fear. I thought it was a nice combination. This is the boy that was born on the start of COVID here, and where when I changed my life, found my new love, and I told her my story about Burning Man. And at that moment, I wrote to a girl, Lisa. She's now the protagonist in my book, but. She said, let's together make Lisa and bring her to the world. And it was a long story, a long travel for us because we had miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. At some point, people say, don't even try to get pregnant because it will not be something life worthy, or you don't want to get pregnant. And we were so not at some point really at one day maybe upset by that, but much more in a conviction. No, it's not going to happen. We're going to bring this soul here, and it's going to be a perfectly healthy, we thought, girl. For us, we had to change our mindset. We had to change a lot of things. And my wife, she, like you do with military precision, almost zoom in on photos and describe everything you see into the smallest details. She went into the process of how you become pregnant but stay pregnant, and science and medical and hospitals and experts always say we know how to get pregnant but we don't know how to stay pregnant. So she zoomed in on that, and especially on her body, and was able to like you did with those 2 missing teeth from this boy, find out exactly what was missing here and take it out. Where everyone said you cannot do that, she took it out. She cured herself on that small point.
Amazing.
And then at some point, and we knew exactly when it happened, on a full moon night, he was, we made him, so to say. And the first time we had the pregnancy test, there was this plus just flying through the window, through this self-test, this pregnancy test. It was just like, bam! And he has always been that since then. When born and afterwards, until this day, he is one bomb of energy.
Nice.
He is exactly the spitting image of me at that age. So I can see myself growing up again as in all aspects. If I send a picture of him to my mother or a recording of his voice, she doesn't know whether it's me at that age or her grandson now. It's for me, it's so magic. And the magic of life is for me also about not taking anything for granted and being grateful for everything, but also seeing the magic in every possible thing, in a small tiny bit of grass growing. For me, this boy, and he is the one. Someone said to me, "I've never seen you smile until you saw this boy." That wide smile, and maybe she was right. This boy, this little soul is. It's like my mirror, my spitting image. So I can raise myself again. I can see myself growing up again, and it's all magic.
First of all, your energy, your description, the feeling really communicates, right? Like, yeah, I mean, it's the content of the words, but it's also the feeling behind them are truly like, yeah, like I hear you. I definitely hear you.
Hmm.
Micah,
Wow.
right? His name is Micah.
Yeah, yeah, Mika.
Um, Mika, sorry, Mika.
No, no problem.
Now, something you don't know about me was I was run over by a car in my 20s.
What?
And yeah, so I had like three brain hemorrhages. I was in a coma. And I was paralyzed. And then I remember being in the rehabilitation center after I woke up from the coma, and because I had to learn how to walk again. And so what that did was it made me very present to this idea that when we look at children and we look at, you know, much like, you know, people in their 70s or in their 80s, and then, you know, in terms of the whole continuum of experience and of brains and life. And so I'm looking at him, and it's a perfect shot. It's a, you know, it's a beautiful digital image, super in focus, very bright. And then next to that, I'm seeing you and your face and your expression and your smile and and it's like, it's this kind of this funny continuum of obviously you're not the same person. You're not, you
No.
know, you know, there's clearly, okay, father and son thing happening for sure, but there's that interesting thing of you seem to have a really interesting way of thinking about life and time in terms of your connection with your son. So why don't you talk about what is time for you? What in terms of trying so hard to get pregnant, finally getting pregnant, and then being so conscious about his impact in your life. Like, why don't you talk about that?
Wow. There's two things. I think time and that impact. I think many people can relate who are have had difficulties of getting pregnant, staying pregnant, or didn't get pregnant at all. Once there is a child, you are also so maybe cautious about or protective, and as a parent, you don't want to be overprotective. So you got to find the balance of letting things go and staying alert. And I think if you become pregnant at a young age and it just happens automatically, it's like you're more in the flow of things automatically, naturally. And we are, of course, a bit older parents, and we tend to be more alert and saying, okay, we did. This is our precious boy. Nothing may happen to him. At least that nothing that can be of danger to him. So there's a difference in the perception of let's going with the flow, which we would love to be on every part, versus being cautious and careful, which we all have in every kind of aspect in our life. If you drive in a car and two times your car didn't respond when you wanted to speed up to get on the highway or something, then you're being very cautious, and you'll take it in the back of your mind until you trade in the car and you have a new car, because you think it can happen again. So that's a totally different example, but we are of course trained as human beings to say, okay, what are we careful about and how we deal with that in a matter of time. um, as said, I think it's never too late to change anything in your life or to do what you finally wanted to do if you realize at a certain moment that you know what it is what you wanted to do, even if it's one day before you die. It doesn't matter, because the time, this concept of Eckhart Tolle, saying the power of now, this is something also I never understood. I understood it mentally, but never got the grasp of it until I also had these kind of experience, and at some point said, okay, there's only now. We're always worrying, or we taught to worry about tomorrow, to be safe, have everything in order, especially in the Western world. And we worry about the past because of things that we have done or that had happened, etc. To focus on just now makes time go away. And it's a practice like in meditation and certain practices that you can go to that state where you're just even maybe not your body anymore. But the concept of time, I think it becomes magic when, especially Western world person, I or you, anyone else, gets to the point that you can experience the fact, oh wow, there's no past, there's no future, there's only now, and then now just always is what it is, and it never changes in the moment. And that's words, and words cannot describe, I think, that feeling what you get when you are in that state. And I've been in that state a few times, and oh, wow,
Hmm.
that's kind of a memory, a remembrance of where we come from. And there you get to different levels, of course, worldview. If we are being created by a creator, deity, or the Big Bang, it doesn't matter, I think, because there is this one source which will come from. We dispute it here on Earth because we say you're a Muslim, I'm a Christian, but we only have one source, and being able to feel that source, at least maybe for a few minutes of time, whoa, that's been
Hmm.
my experience. It's so magical. And when I brought it back here, I said, okay, if I know it is there, and it changed my view on worrying about the future, worrying about the past. But of course, life goes on, and you're being distracted and being brought to the daily problems or issues. But and then I'll stop going back to this memory of timeless love, a timeless feeling of being perfect, and there's nothing that can harm you. That feeling, if you can bring that down to down to earth, if you can bring it in your body in daily life, well, that's magic. For me, that's magic, and I still try to have that experience more and more every day.
Hmm.
Sometimes it works better than others, but oh, that's so magical.
Well, you're human, better sometimes better than others. Okay, so let me make a few connections and yeah. So we started off talking about phobias, right? So a powerful fear of spiders, or fear of snakes, like deep embedded fear. Sometimes you can get beyond it. Like for example, myself, I'll go. I'm not at the point where I can pick up a giant spider, but I definitely pick up snakes.
Wow.
That's totally fine. Okay, so we've got phobias, and phobias are very present. It's like right now there's the water, right now there's the spider, right now there's a snake. Then we've got anxiety, and anxiety is basically worrying about the future. So it's kind of like not being in the now, and I have general anxiety disorder, so sometimes it gets the better of me where I do have worries about a future that I'm definitely not in the present, right? Okay, so when you look at Mika, and how old is he now? He's 6, 7,
Four and a half.
4.5. Sorry, 4.5. So
No problem.
when you look at Mika and a 4.5, somebody who's 4 is definitely in the present, right? Because in a way, as we get older, we learn how to be more living in the future or living in the past.
Yeah.
So how do you address looking at his behavior and how he is, and balancing the notion of anxiety, which is living in the future, worrying about the future, versus the phobia of the present? And look, and if you don't like my question, answer it
No,
differently.
I like your question. I like the way you combine it, because indeed, also fear brings you to the present. It's really a spider or a snake or anything like height fear. It brings you to the now. It brings you really to where you are then. Other fears, like worrying about your financial future, what might happen in your job, is more fears that are created in our system, which can take which can take you over even.
Hmm.
And that's worrying. It gives stress, and that harm, that's really harmful. Those other types of fear are really for putting you in the now, and I think those are healthy fears because they are just there and then they disappear when the situation changes. And
Right.
looking at my boy or any child, indeed, being just in the now, playing, and playing is a wonderful thing. That what I uh, tried to do my life, but I understood that I never did it in that way until I played with him, and I still had these thoughts when playing. Okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, finish that job, finish that project, and then the funny thing is, the child notices straight away. So, "Oh, Daddy, you're not here." So the child brings me to the now and say, "Okay, just play with me or be here." And I learned to also just surrender to that. Indeed, say, okay, why do I worry? And the funny thing is that even if you try to you think you mastered something or experienced it once or twice, daily life has a tendency of confronting you always with situations. Okay, try this way. Hey, now see how you deal with this. Um,
Hmm.
so a child brings you indeed back to the here and now, until they also come to the point of, hey, I want to have something in the future, and why is not now? For a child, everything is now. So if you say tomorrow it will be your birthday, they will be acting like today's their birthday until they have a certain age where they can mentally master that. So, like fears, a child brings you to the now and mirrors you in that way.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.